Man, listen, it's Wemby's world, and we just live in it. Let me get to the NBA games that we just experienced these past couple of days. I just had to confine this video into one because, it's just so much to talk about. First and foremost, game one of the Western Conference Finals and game one of the Eastern Conference Finals is some of the best basketball we've seen all year long. It's not even close. Like, Wimby, the things that guy did, let me pull up this stat headline right there. Wimby took down the defending champions this couple of days ago, game one, when it was at Oklahoma City. Wimby scored 41 points, grabbed 24 rebounds, 3 blocks to add on top of that. I mean, some of the best basketball I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot. It was very Tim Duncan-esque. For those of you old enough to have watched Tim Duncan in his prime, Tim Duncan would put up numbers like this in the playoffs. I wasn't a huge Tim Duncan fan, admittingly so. The guy was as boring as watching paint dry on a wall a lot of times. But it was undeniable how talented he was as a power forward, as a perennial big man in the NBA. It was Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. I mean, those guys kind of ruled the Western Conference for over a decade. Tim Duncan was winning all the championships, though. But he had a great supporting cast, similar to what we're seeing now with Victor Wembanyama. He's got stud players around him, young guys. I mean, I said this in a previous video before when I was very high on the Spurs. I've been high on the Spurs all season. I'm putting my money where my mouth is as well. I've been betting on some of these games. I got just a small wager on the Spurs winning the series. So I'm not just talking. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But that being said, man, the Spurs are playing like way ahead of their years. Dylan Harper, we have already gone through this. Dylan Harper, 20 years old. The guy in that game, in game one, had the best stat line for a rookie point guard since Magic Johnson. When he scored 21, he had 7 steals. He had a bunch of assists and rebounds. It was incredible. I mean, he wouldn't have thought that he was a rookie the way he played. I mean, if you just kind of don't watch this stuff on a day-to-day basis. It was impressive. Stephon Castle, UConn, let's go. UConn, former great Stephon Castle, played great as well. Now, Stephon Castle, in his situation, I'm not concerned with him. He's played in big games before. He's a former, national champion. Big games shouldn't be a big worry for him. And he played like it. Now, granted, he had 11 turnovers. I ain't like that shit. I didn't like it at all. But you got to understand, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. So, he's liable to have those turnovers, especially when you don't have your star veteran point guard and De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper, during the postgame, said he learned 60 minutes before the start of the game that he was going to start because no one knew, if De'Aaron Fox was going to miss the game until right close up to the game tip. So the fact that he still performed the way he performed, talking about Dylan Harper, is impressive. But Stephon Castle, 11 turnovers, but he eradicated those 11 turnovers by giving you 11 assists. So if you're going to do the turnover thing, I need to at least have just as many assists or more assists. I mean, if you're going to coach a young player. And he did that. But he didn't just do that. He also made incredible impact on the game through the defensive side of the ball, which Dylan Harper did as well. That backcourt, man. And then when you add De'Aaron Fox, I mean, again, they won this game without De'Aaron Fox. I didn't know De'Aaron Fox was going to play. So I was a little worried during the game because of, the turnovers. These guys are young. These guys are kids, man. Dylan Harper, 20. Stephon Castle, 21, I believe. Again, Victor Wembanyama, 22. These guys are kids. Extremely young. But the thing is, what I will say before we get back to Wemby about the Spurs is that I've said it from the beginning, man. The Spurs match up the best against the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. Just look at the Spurs like the Thunder. They're very similar. young players, the whole nine. But the Spurs young players better. They're more athletic. They're better athletes than the young players on the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not, if you watch the games, again, now we've seen them play about 5 or 6 times, and guess who's won like 5 out of the 6 or whatever? It's the Spurs. The Spurs are on a heater right now. And OKC is going to have to make some adjustments, man. I've said it too, and privately to some of my friends out there. Chet Holmgren's going to have to step up. Jay Will played really good. I mean, he played better than I thought he would play, given that he's missed like over at least a month of basketball, because he was out since the first round. So he played pretty well. He was aggressive. I think he was 8 of 17. He had 20 plus points or something like that. I think 21 points, which was pretty good. But Chet is the de facto ace in the hole that OKC need. In order for them to beat the Spurs, in my opinion, I think Chet Holmgren has to play a little above what he's played this season against the Spurs. I did a checkup research on my own just to see how much points he scored, how aggressive he is during the season against the Spurs. His numbers are putrid. He shot 7 times in the last game, didn't score over 10 points. And then I was saying to myself, this guy is 7 feet tall. He should be a double-double machine every game. It's inexcusable to be as tall as Chet Holmgren and not put up a double-double every game. It's soft. And it's inexcusable. It doesn't make any sense. But for whatever reason, he struggles against this team. Well, not for whatever reason. It's one big 7'4" reason that he struggles against this team. So I did I searched up and tried to do a little research to see what his average is for the series. Not just the series, because the series just started with the Spurs. But what is Chet Holmgren's point average for all the Spurs games this season? And it's 10.5. Chet Holmgren averages 10.5 points this season against the San Antonio Spurs. Guess what, guys and gals? That ain't going to cut it. That is not going to beat the San Antonio Spurs. 10.5 points ain't going to cut it, Chet. Chet Holmgren needs, in my opinion, to provide OKC 15 plus points, 10 plus rebounds for them to even have a shot against this Spurs team. He has to, and that's not a lot to ask. You're 7 foot tall. You can't get me 15 and 10, Chet. So, listen, OKC in trouble. I'm saying it now. They in trouble. Now, I expect them to bounce back. This game is actually going to be played tonight as I'm recording this. I expect them to bounce back. They better. I expect the bench players to play a lot better. I'm actually putting a wager down on some of the bench players stepping up and knocking down some threes that they didn't hit in the first game. Like Lou Dort, a couple guys that weren't really hitting those threes. I expect them to hit a couple in this next game to come, in game 2. But back to Wemby, man. Wemby is definitely in the class. He made his stake as definitely, he put his imprint down as the best player in the world potentially. And easily one of the top 3 players or 4 of a handful of players in the league with that performance. And one thing I love about Victor Wembanyama, man, and he's fastly becoming my favorite player in the league, I said it, it's his mentality, man. That young dude, that young lion is a wolf inside here, man. He's mentally strong. He's 22 years old, man. And he should not be as mentally strong as he is. But he is. That dude is mentally strong, yo. He's cut differently. I get Kobe mentality. Yes, Kobe, Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba. I get that Mamba-like mentality from Victor that I don't get from a lot of players, especially young players today. But Victor has it. And I love the dude's honesty. He's honest. He'll tell you exactly how he feels. whether it's the emotional side of things or whether it's just the way he feels in general about his game compared to others. He's honest about it. He doesn't give you some PC response. He gives you the real response. Like when they asked him about how he felt about Shea receiving his second MVP, he said, yeah, I was a little bothered by it.
You're saying that it's a pretty natural response for a competitor to see another competitor get something that he wants, whether it's the MVP trophy or whatever it might be. I'm just curious if that was in your mind at all, knowing that Shea had got that award and you were in the top 3 for it, and did any part of tonight feel personal? Some of your facial expressions kind of look like you were really, really going for it.
Yeah, for sure. Everything you just said.
It fueled me. And it should fuel you. When you're in a professional sport, you should be fueled by anything. You should be always fueled to be the best on the field or on the court. That's what athletics is. It's competition. It's not meant to be for the weak at heart or for those who want a participation trophy. It's for the best. And Wemby gets it. So shout out to Wemby. Game 2 tonight. I'm just loving what the Spurs are doing, man. I hope they clean up the turnovers. We'll see what happens, man. If they come with the same mentality, clean up the turnovers, man, listen, they got a shot in Game 2 as well. But I expect OKC to turn it around, though. If they don't turn it around, man, it says a lot about OKC, and it definitely says a lot more about the Spurs if they snatch another victory from OKC this early on in the series. But let's get to the Knicks real quick. The Knicks, man, oh man, the Knicks and the Cavs. Let's get this headline up real quick. Knicks and Cavs. Knicks come back from 22-point deficit in the fourth quarter, bro. It was a spectacle like no other. I can imagine how that atmosphere was in the Garden, how crazy it was. I mean, when you watch the Garden on TV, it's a reason why a lot of basketball aficionados say that the NBA isn't nearly as good as it could be if the Knicks aren't good. There's a few teams like the Knicks and the Celtics and the Lakers, and there's a few teams that are embedded in the fabric of the NBA. And if they're not doing good, the league usually isn't doing good. I believe that. And if the Knicks is doing good, the powerhouse being from the media capital of the world in New York, arguably still, yeah, it helps the league out tremendously. So I'm not a Knicks hater at all. Contrary to popular belief, I like when the Knicks are good. It just makes the league so much better. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, before I talk about how great that comeback was with the Knicks and a few things that I noticed that I think went under the radar, I gotta give credit to the Cavs, man. Even though I know people are on their ass about losing the game, but a lot of people haven't picked the Cavs to win this series anyway to begin with. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that they came to the Garden to play, and clearly the Knicks was rusty. They had a few days off. Hell, I think they almost had a week off. That's how fast they put to bed the 76ers, that they had a few days off. And the Cavs were the hotter team. They were the team that just came from a Game 7. So, of course, they were going to come in with more momentum, more aggression, the whole nine. But, a lot of people didn't see the Knicks being dominated the way they were being dominated for a majority of the game. Until that fourth quarter came. And when the fourth quarter comes, who usually shows up for the New York Knicks? That little point guard in the backcourt, Jalen Brunson. That dude, man, I can't explain it. Whatever happens, something happens to this dude when the fourth quarter comes. His clutch percentile or whatever goes through the roof. It's like his hyper focus kicks in for this dude or something. I don't know what it is, but it's impressive. Because every time the fourth quarter comes, the New York Knicks fans could depend on him because they know 9 times out of 10, Brunson could have the worst game all game. But 9 times out of 10, New York Knicks fans know that Jalen Brunson is going to show up in that fourth quarter. And that's what he did again. He consistently does this. to the point where, like, even if you're a Knicks hater, you can't hate on Jalen Brunson. Like, Jalen Brunson, I think, is at the point now where he's gotten or should have the respect from even some of his haters out there because Brad can play. You know, a lot of his game you think should be able to be stopped, but it don't. A lot of people can't stop his game. Dude is wet. Pause. Like, bro, 22-point deficit. Of course, this doesn't happen without Jalen Brunson. I mean, now I will say this, the thing that I didn't like, but it had to be done. Jalen Brunson had to shoot as much as he had to shoot. Now, I will say this, small nitpick, just a small nitpick. I am not big on players shooting a ton of shots. I'm just not. Especially in Jalen Brunson's case, he had 38 points on 29 shots. That's a lot of shooting. And he had 46 minutes. So he played practically the whole game. I think the issue going forward for the Knicks, and I think as they move past, I think they still will beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's my opinion. But I think ultimately what I think the Knicks will run into as something that's gonna harm them as far as their ultimate goal of getting the championship, the NBA championship. I think their reliance on Jalen Brunson can go a little too far. Like, I think they can go into this state, this mode where it's just Jalen Brunson or bust. And then that's when Jalen Brunson gets into that mode like, yo, I got to shoot 29 plus. I got to shoot 30 times a game. And it could get dangerous. Like, even in this series, I hope the Knicks don't fall for the fool's gold of having Jalen Brunson shoot 29, 30 times a game. Because that's usually an indication that things aren't going good. Because you need to have others involved. So, that being said, you can't get mad at a victory. The Knicks still won. At the end of the day, the Knicks won. They are up now 1-0 and are 3 victories away from hitting the finals. The first time since 99. The first time since Marcus Camby era. And that's for us Connecticut folks out there. Shout out Marcus Camby's from Connecticut. Actually, from Bloomfield. So, biggest thing since Camby. You know what I'm saying? Shout out over there to Fuego Bakes. All right. But yeah, man, very impressive victory by the Knicks, man. Now, you know, them taking the reins and just reversing the rust. Now we got to see how the Knicks will come out in game 2. James Harden again. Like, Jesus Christ. I did a wager where, you know, it was a parlay, and a part of that parlay, because it was a 4-legged parlay. 2 of the legs in the parlay, one being James Harden and the other being Dennis Schroeder. I had Dennis Schroeder hitting 2 threes, and I had James Harden hitting 3 threes. Guess what? Neither happened. With overtime, James Harden didn't hit 3 threes, and Dennis Schroeder didn't hit two threes. So that's how bad they played. Like, those are givens. You know what I'm saying? Those are givens, especially for James Harden, dude. Like, I don't know. James Harden is going to turn back into James Harden. You watch. But anyway, yeah, man, that was a solid game. It's been a solid playoff so far, man. These are kind of the series that we wanted. I know a lot of people probably on the East side would have wanted to see Detroit versus the New York Knicks. But the Cavs series should be just as good, in my opinion. I mean, with Donovan Mitchell and company going against the Knicks, it should still be good. And hell, it proved to be the case in game 1. All right? But Western Conference has been good. Eastern Conference has been good. The NBA is still on fire, contrary to popular belief to all of those haters out there who hate the NBA for whatever reason. This ain't your mama and pop's NBA anymore. This is a different NBA, and it is excelling with the new TV deals. I already talked about that in a previous video. All this playoff run is doing is making the popularity go up even more for the NBA. And as a fan of that, as a fan of the NBA, it just glows my heart. That is definitely for that NBA talk.